Life in other worlds. At the beginning, you talked about a plan that involves all beings of creation and said that every planet has its corresponding astral planet. Moreover, in many of your answers you mention, at the end, what happens in advanced worlds. Although we haven't specifically talked about it, I deduce from all of this that there is intelligent life on other planets. Of course, the universe is very large. Throughout the whole universe there are spirits in constant evolution that need incarnations in the physical world in order to advance on their path towards perfection. And why don't we have manifest proof that extraterrestrial civilizations or humanities exist? Those humanities that are on the same level or are less advanced than yours don't yet have the technological means to travel to or contact other worlds. The most advanced ones that have the capacity to visit your planet and to interact with you try not to interfere in your evolution and intervene on your planet in a very subtle way. Even so, there is a lot of proof of contact with beings from other worlds from very ancient eras, which have been registered in the sacred books of many civilizations, of course not under the name of extraterrestrials but as gods or beings sent by gods. Nowadays there are also many sightings of spaceships which, due to their capacity for movement, far exceed the achievements of your current technology. There are also testimonies of people who have contacted beings from other worlds, although your governments try to hide this through fear of losing the control they have over you. When you talk about more advanced humanities, do you refer to those more advanced technologically? I refer to humanities that are more advanced spiritually, although technologically they are also much more advanced than yours. And are there humanities or civilizations that are technologically advanced but are not spiritually more advanced than ours? Yes, they actually exist. But what happens is that if they don't follow the law of love, they end up destroying themselves through a misuse of technology which they use for internal conflicts or against other neighboring civilizations. Only the ones that are built on the base of love and respecting free will are lasting, as they don't waste time, resources and effort in destruction as opposed to construction. So in the end, the civilizations that are more advanced spiritually are also more advanced technologically. And what happens to those spirits that lived in civilizations that didn't obey the law of love and destroyed themselves? As I have said, spirits are immortal and of course continue living on the spiritual plane. They will continue their evolution incarnating on the remains of destroyed civilizations. In the case of the planet having been totally destroyed, they will be transferred to the astral of other planets similar to theirs so that they can incarnate there. Just like in your world, if a city is destroyed by a flood, the survivors will be moved to less dangerous areas. The least advanced spirits will generally be transferred to more primitive planets, where the conditions for survival are much more demanding so that they learn to value what they had before and didn't know how to preserve. So spirits originating from other planets can incarnate on Earth and vice versa. Spirits originating from Earth can incarnate on other planets? Yes, and not only in the extreme case of destroyed planets. Spirits are periodically transferred from some planets to others, with certain restrictions, since spirits cannot incarnate on planets which are above their own evolutionary level. They will have to do this on planets of a similar level to their planet of origin or with lower levels, but there are also difficulties of vibratory harmonization if the spirits are very advanced and the planet is very primitive. Hence, when evolved spirits incarnate on a planet of a lower level, they must readjust the vibratory pattern of their astral body in order to mold themselves to an actual physical body of that planet. When the vibratory level of the spirit is much greater than the level of the planet, this adjustment is practically impossible. To get an idea, it would be like trying to put on an article of clothing 2 sizes smaller than your actual size. So the evolutionary level of the advanced spirits that incarnate on your planet can be 1 step higher than yours, and under special circumstances up to 2 steps but no more. With what intention do spirits that come from a planet that has not been destroyed incarnate on another different planet? Generally, in order to promote spiritual evolution. Advanced spirits can incarnate on less advanced planets in order to promote the spiritual progress of spirits originating from that planet. What can also happen is that certain spirits evolve faster than the average for their planet of origin, and this planet becomes too small for them to continue evolving at their rhythm. Hence they incarnate in more evolved worlds, in harmony with their evolutionary level, just like you change school to follow secondary school education after completing the last course of primary school. Can also occur that at certain times the circumstances of the planets are very favorable and allow spirits to put their aptitudes to the test and accelerate their evolutionary progress. This occurs when a large number of spirits on a planet are ready to make a collective evolutionary leap. The entire planet needs to be restructured to adapt itself to the needs of incarnate spirits in that new phase. When a planet is experiencing circumstances of this kind, many spirits originating from other planets of a similar evolutionary level feel attracted to it and ask to incarnate therein, in order to be able to experience such circumstances and use them for their spiritual progress. Harmony with their evolutionary level, just like you change school to follow secondary school education after completing the last course of primary school. Can also occur that at certain times the circumstances of the planets are very favorable and allow spirits to put their aptitudes to the test and accelerate their evolutionary progress. This occurs when a large number of spirits on a planet are ready to make a collective evolutionary leap. The entire planet needs to be restructured to adapt itself to the needs of incarnate spirits in that new phase. When a planet is experiencing circumstances of this kind, many spirits originating from other planets of a similar evolutionary level feel attracted to it and ask to incarnate there in order to be able to experience such circumstances and use them for their spiritual progress. And what kind of circumstances are so attractive to spirits of other planets? It so happens that your planet is approaching a possible change of level. It could move up from being a third-level planet to become a fourth-level planet. This could happen if enough spirits become aware of the destiny of the spirit, of their immortality, of the fact that we are all brothers and sisters and that we incarnate to evolve spiritually, to learn how to love and to detach ourselves from egoism, this being the cause of all the ills on the planet. These spirits will work towards establishing a new way of doing things on Earth based on love, and this will transform the world at all levels: social, economical, political. But at the same time, there is a multitude of spirits that don't want to renounce their egoism, such as the powerful people who rule the world and who don't want anything to change. That is because they don't want to relinquish their power and their material wealth, which is based on the oppression of their brothers and sisters, and they will oppose with all their might the first group S attempts at reform. Each spirit will have to make a decision, either to fight for love or fight for egoism, and work hard for the choice they have made. This is the exceptional circumstance, the extraordinary opportunity for the spirits that have opted for the side of love to progress, because they will have to confront a multitude of obstacles. Lack of comprehension, calumny, and violence from those spirits that still hold on to egoism and will endeavor by every means possible to get them to give up their objective. If, in spite of all the attacks, humiliation, and all kinds of aggression, they are still able to continue believing in love, they will be one step closer to the great objective of the spirit, which is to be capable of loving unconditionally. Yes, I know the story. In the movies, maybe the good ones win, but in reality the bad ones always win in the end, because as the good ones are pacific, they are always massacred. History is full of such cases. The first Christians, the Cathars. Certainly, the indefinite prolongation of this conflict would cause spiritual stagnation and great undeserved and futile suffering of the group of loving spirits, because the egoistic group could boycott indefinitely all their attempts at transformation. But this extremely intense conflict won't be prolonged indefinitely. The two groups will have to be separated in the end. Separation implies that one of the groups has to leave the planet to incarnate on another or other planets where conditions appropriate to the evolutionary level of those loving spirits can be found. Your humanity is living through a process of this kind, at the end of which a spiritual selection, such as that described, will take place. This reminds me of the final judgment of the biblical apocalypse. Does it have anything to do with that? Let's say that the final judgment that is mentioned in the Bible is a personal interpretation of the author regarding some visions of the probable future of the earth where he glimpsed this process, and on writing about it he captured it in this way according to his capability. Of course, the end of the cycle is not the end of the world, it is just the end of a phase. Nor does the fact that you decide not to renounce your egoism now mean that this decision is final. You can change your mind whenever you want, and if you don't make the most of this opportunity, there will be another opportunity to do so later on. Therefore, neither is it God who chooses the good ones to put them on the right and the bad ones on the left, but rather the choice comes from you yourself. The spirit world gives the same opportunities to everybody, and you yourself choose what you want to do and in what kind of world you wish to live through your own free will. Depending on your will and where you direct your effort, you will have one thing or another. Those who wish to live in love will live in a world based on love. Those who wish to live in egoism will live in a world based on egoism until they realize that living that way makes them miserable, and so they decide to change. And which group will leave and which one will stay? It depends. There are two options. If the number of spirits that have been able to evolve is not enough to manage to put the planet on the right path towards love, the planet as a whole won't make the evolutionary leap. It will maintain its current vibratory level, accommodating the spirits that didn't make the evolutionary leap. Those who did make the leap will be transferred to planets of greater evolutionary level in order to incarnate there. So the Earth will continue to be a third-level planet which will continue to be inhabited by spirits that didn't want to renounce egoism, continually facing for thousands of years the same kind of problems that they didn't resolve before. Meanwhile, the loving spirits that did want to renounce egoism will incarnate on planets of a superior level, in accordance with the evolutionary level that they have achieved for themselves. There they will find other spirits that harmonize with their own inner self, and where they will be able to be happy, as they will find no opposition to the manifestation of their love, where they will face more advanced challenges. On the contrary, if the number of spirits that have managed to evolve is sufficient for humanity to progress on the right track and operate according to the spiritual laws, the entire planet will make the evolutionary leap. The spirits that have managed to make that evolutionary leap will be those that will remain on the planet, whilst those that haven't made it will be transferred to planets of the same evolutionary level in order to incarnate there. This is the meaning of the phrase that Jesus proclaimed during the Sermon on the Mount. Blessed are the meek, because they will inherit the earth. This phrase cannot be understood without knowing about reincarnation, the law of evolution, and spiritual justice. How are the meek going to possess the earth when we are tired of seeing that it is always the oppressors, the powerful, the violent people who end up holding the power and control over the earth, whereas the meek, the peacemakers, are always the ones who have to flee from conflicts if they don't wish to be massacred? The fact is that Jesus is talking precisely about this selection process according to the evolutionary level, which will lead to those spirits that have advanced in love and peace, the meek, incarnating on earth in the future. Meanwhile, those that do not observe the law of love will be transferred or exiled, so that they may incarnate on a planet more suited to their evolutionary level. How will the spirits that can stay be transferred to other worlds? It will be a gradual process. Those spirits that don't harmonize with the vibratory level of the planet will stop incarnating on Earth after they die, and will incarnate on other planets with their same evolutionary level. In the case that the planet moves up to a higher level, the rise in the vibratory level will impede the spirits that have not reached that level from being born in this world, having to incarnate in worlds that suit their vibratory level. From a certain moment on, only children with a minimal vibratory pattern will be born. So we will have to wait until we die before being able to pass over to another planet? Normally yes, but not always. In the case of planetary catastrophes, physically incarnate spirits are also allowed to be transferred with the help of extraterrestrial civilizations that have sufficient technology to be able to transport thousands of people from one planet to another. It is similar to what you do when natural catastrophes take place in certain regions of your planet. Humanitarian aid missions are set up with the aim of attending and evacuating the survivors from the affected areas. In the case where the evolutionary leap is not made, will the planet be condemned to spiritual stagnation? Absolutely not. Within a few thousand years, there will be another similar opportunity to make the evolutionary leap. By then, most of the spirits that are now egoistic will have lived through sufficient experiences to have woken up to love, hence being able to make the evolutionary leap that they didn't want to make when they last had the opportunity. These opportunities for collective advancement have already occurred on Earth in the past. The last time those beings that had managed to evolve sufficiently on being a minority on your planet were the ones that had to be transferred to another more advanced planet, while the Earth became the home of the spirits that did not achieve this. That moment of geological changes was used to advantage in order to carry out some massive planetary migrations between planets which were experiencing the same circumstances. Planet Earth remained as a refuge for the human contingents that had not managed to make the evolutionary leap on their respective planets of origin. By this, do you mean to say that many races on Earth are not from this planet originally but come from other worlds? That's right. This is also a way of helping you to understand that you are all brothers and sisters, as in many places in the universe life develops, with very similar patterns to those on Earth, and races that come from different planets can mingle and coexist as sister races because the differences between them are minimal. If you like the video, leave a comment and a like and subscribe to the channel. Thank you, and see you in the next video.